I'm Robbie Fuller with adidas. I'm a category designer responsible for working on advanced concepts.
What separates the Crazyquick from the Crazy Fast and Crazy Light brandings?
So yeah, with Crazy Light, I think it's pretty obvious. The focus is on lightweight and being the ultimate in the lightweight benefit, which makes every single step higher performing because you're having to carry less weight. And so with quickness and the Crazyquick, it's really exciting because you get to focus in on like not necessarily all the steps, but like those particular ones where you know you're about to make that move. And so in order to create that space, you need to be able to change direction. You need to be as quick as possible. Able to stop and start is critical. I think if you watch the league, you see that every night, the people who just seem to have like a grasp on that idea of change of direction. So quickness is critical, and the Crazyquick was built to focus on that benefit.
Give us a deep dive onto what exactly the Crazyquick technology is.
So Crazyquick, it's not one particular thing. It's a complete system. So every single piece, just like a team, depends on the other one. So for instance, like when you look at the bottom, it really looks like it's a completely decoupled, super flexible tooling, which that's great, but it is only allowed to do that because of the sprint frame and how the sprint frame kind of orchestrates all those movements, because there's a lot of action. If you watch like a video of this shoe when it hits the ground, I mean the pods are going all over the place, providing that kind of expanding out grip, more surface area hitting the ground, and hitting the ground in the way that you need it to hit the ground and reacting to the court. So the sprint frame is that kind of chassis that's helping to control a lot of that movement, make sure you're being as efficient as possible. But then that's just the bottom. So you can just imagine if that much flex is happening on the bottom of the shoe, then you need something flexible in the upper to go with a flexible bottom. If you had a really flexible bottom and a really stiff upper, you're going to get all kinds of creases and possible like pressure points in the upper because it can't do the same thing and work with the bottom. So that's why I'm really excited about this first introduction in basketball with a tech fit upper. For a while we've always had it in apparel and we've been excited about it, and everybody gets that moment of truth that you feel like that perfect fit and really energized and more athletic when you've got tech fit on. And we were trying to figure out how's the honest approach to applying it to footwear. And so now that we have this bottom that's really articulating, Tech Fit is the perfect vehicle to put into the upper in order to get a lot of that articulation that we need. But once again, even that's not enough in and of itself. You have to have the controlled areas or restricted motion. And so the balance to having this stretch base are these two things. One is the webbings. So the webbings they pop through at the top, but they go all the way down to the tooling, to the platform. And they go all the way through the shoe. If you took off the top skin, you would see just this kind of zigzag of webbings going all the way through the entire shoe. So that gives you that one point of restricting motion. And then the other one that we're excited about, that you've seen in running and you'll see across the Crazyquick concept, is this kind of quick skin, we invented this new printing process that sticks to a stretch base. A lot of times you'll do a print, but you'll see cracking because it does a great job of bonding, but it can't stretch. So this is both great at bonding and great at stretch. And so where you have the high density areas, you'll see more of the printing, and where you have less density, you'll see more of the stretch base. And that's based on studies where we did V-cut, high-speed film and seeing how the skin reacts to those movements. And so the high tension areas are protected, and the low tension areas are allowed to act naturally. So all those together, the bottom, the articulation, the sprint frame, that chassis, that kind of orchestrating all the movements, the stretchable but supportive upper that works together with the bottom. Those are the three main drivers that allow for quickness.
How much of the learnings for Crazyquick was derived from the old feet you wear and recent pure motion technologies?
So every shoe we do, it's based on learnings of the past, and definitely we try to set a clear goal for each range. And so the goal with feet you wear, it was to act like the foot, and so that's the reason the contours and constructions and everything were very similar to a foot. With pure motion, we tried to improve on that, working on the radiuses, working a little bit on the weight, and a little bit more on focusing on 5 zones on the bottom. With the Crazyquick, we've kind of taken both of those ideas to the next level. So instead of acting like the foot, the Crazyquick was built to act with the foot. So in some ways it does try to duplicate some of the things that the foot does, which is the best sport creation of all time, the foot. And in other ways, it needs to go beyond what the foot does. So for instance, traction. Your foot doesn't have the greatest traction on a basketball court. What we've been able to do with this herringbone is thin it down so that it really reacts well with the court, and you get that squeak that every basketball player loves.
With the 4 quick zones and 17 pods on the bottom of the shoe, did you experiment with or look into more or less zones and pods?
Yeah, there was a lot of different sketches. I mean, I had sketches that looked a lot like pure motion, but pure motion plus grooves, flex grooves, which I think is still a relevant path to look at. But based on the research and the feedback that we were getting, this layout has we tried to go extreme. We thought, hey, let's do something that there's no way it'll work. But what we saw, we were shocked that we were looking at all the high-speed capture video and some of the kind of strain testing that we do on the midsole, and we were like blown away at how well the sprint frame was able to control a tooling that shouldn't work. Like the bottom, it should be too flexible, but because you have the sprint frame with it, the two work together to control cuts and allow for a quickness that's we've never been able to achieve before. So that's exciting.
What was the most difficult part in creating the various Crazyquick models?
Yeah, consistency. I'd say, having multiple teams, multiple people, different types of athletes. The better you get at basketball, normally, the quicker and taller you get, and different positions in football, have different, scales of athletes. So, making sure that everybody was on the same page and understanding that there's this one clear benefit and one focus, which is to make athletes quicker. Being able to solve for each type of surface that the shoe interacts with, and create solutions that provide that similar benefit, but at the end, when you put them all together, you see a language. I think that's also one of the most difficult things. Multiple designers, multiple marketing teams, so a lot of different and great ideas in the room, and making sure you're sticking to the ones that kind of bubble up as the best. But I think you can see when you see all 4 shoes, you can see that there's clear markers that kind of tie the whole range together, which is the Tech Fit upper. You see it more in running and training as completely unrestricted, really focusing just on this new printing technology. In football, you see it actually, the sock goes inside, so you have right next to the foot, you have this kind of stretch, Tech Fit booty. And then on basketball, cleated, running, training, across all of them, we all came to the same solution that the webbings connecting the platform to the upper was a great solution in order to control movement. So lots of things to deliver, but at the end, I'm pretty excited because it looks intuitive. You see the shoes, there's an icon that you can now relate to a certain benefit. Same way with light. If you think the lightest basketball shoes in the game, you think frames or web. And so now, when you think quick, we want you to think this system, not these hero parts, but this kind of overall wrapping skin around a product tells you like that there's something about that that's going to make me quicker.
And finally, what was your biggest takeaway from working on the Crazyquick project?
Probably don't think you know it all. Don't push really far and see what happens. As I've said, the first testing shoe we did, we really went crazy with the decoupling and thought, okay, there's no way that's going to work, and then whatever we do, we're going to pull it back. But if you see this tooling compared to the very first samples, it's almost one-to-one. So I think the biggest learning, for me was when you start a project, really do the extreme of the concept, because it might just work. Don't be risk adverse. Really go for it. And I think same thing with your game. Really push your game. Find people that you think there's no way you can beat them, and take them on, because you might just be able to surprise yourself.